Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update. So first up tonight, I want to address the very positive news regarding that Weasley little leprechaun from Qantas, good old Alan Joyce, who's finally been held to account for all but destroying an Australian institution in Qantas Airlines. So this is the story for those who didn't hear about it. And it says, former Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce loses almost $10 million in payout reduction. Qantas said serious damage had been caused to the airline's reputation. You think? Former Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce has had his multi-million-dollar payout slashed by almost $10 million. The heavy reduction comes after the airline was found to have illegally sacked ground staff under his leadership and a recent ACCC settlement over flight cancellations. The former CEO's departing pay packet worth about $23 million when he resigned last year will be cut by $9.26 million. The pay cut was confirmed in a Qantas statement to the Australian Securities Exchange, ASX, and included $8.3 million worth of Qantas shares. His short-term incentive bonus was also cut by 33% to $900,000. The events that damaged Qantas and its reputation and caused considerable harm to relationships with customers, employees and other stakeholders were due to a number of factors, the statement said. While there were no findings of deliberate wrongdoing, the review found that mistakes were made by the board and management which contributed to the company's significant reputational and customer service issues. So great to see that he's being finally held to account for what he's done. I mean, I used to not only be an actual Qantas Club frequent flyer, but I was actually a Qantas Club member for many years. We used to use Qantas for all of our flights whenever we travelled interstate for our live events, all those sorts of things. But after the way he treated customers during COVID, I vowed never to fly with them again. And to date, nothing has changed my mind. And I, for one, am very happy to hear that his decisions are finally affecting him personally. Now, speaking of losing money, I spoke on last week's video update about the mobile speed cameras that were being vandalised in Tasmania and how they were only able to deploy them during the daylight hours because people were attacking them and setting them on fire and stuff like that in the evenings. Well, there's actually been an update to that story, and unfortunately for those who are in Tasmania, it does seem like those cameras are now detecting so-called unregistered vehicles, as well as mobile phone use and seatbelt offences as well. So if you are in Tasmania or travelling to Tasmania, I suggest you have a read of this article. And it says, state warns drivers as mobile cameras target new road rule with automatic fines. After a recent upgrade, mobile speed cameras in Tasmania now have the ability to check the registration status of cars in real time. Mobile detection cameras in another Aussie state now have the capability to detect more road offences, with drivers warned that as of this week they're on the lookout for unregistered vehicles and will slap those in breach with automatic fines of more than $250. You're not lucky that you're not in New South Wales or Victoria, where it's the same as the actual registration fee. After a recent upgrade, mobile speed cameras in Tasmania now have the ability to check registration status of cars as they pass by, in addition to being able to spot speeding, mobile phone use behind the wheel and seatbelt offences. The announcement came less than 1 month after road authorities in the state said they were reviewing how cameras operated after a string of arson attacks on the devices, suspected to have occurred at the hands of the public. No, little children came out and sort of did it while they were sleeping. I mean, seriously? In the wake of the attacks, they said the cameras would be moved around more frequently in a bid to keep them safe from vandals. The move in Tasmania comes just weeks after the ACT updated its roadside camera technology to check motorists have proper insurance and registration, while also monitoring seatbelt and mobile phone use. Then there's a subheading, Transport Minister's warning to unregistered drivers. Tasmanian Transport Minister Eric Abetz said the cameras could be anywhere, any given time. We've already As we've already said, for speeding a mobile phone and incorrect seatbelt use, and now for registration, these cameras can be anywhere, anytime. Besides the risk of a $252.50 fine, it's not fair that the majority of those who keep their registration up to date should have to pay for those who disregard their responsibilities. Remember how private registration used to be a one-off fee for life? Those of you who are old enough, go back and look at the old road traffic acts. Anything used for private domestic use, one-off fee for life. Now they've tricked everybody into registering their vehicles commercially, so they have to pay an annual fee. Registration fees are vital for compulsory third-party motor accident insurance. Well, actually, no. The insurance component is, not the registration component, and I'll come back to that in a moment, which covers significant injury costs for hundreds of people injured in crashes each year. ABET said between May 14 and June 17 of this year, there were over 2,000 incidents of unregistered vehicles being driven on state roads, which has the potential to cost payers. How? How can someone driving an unregistered vehicle cost the taxpayer? Can't it possibly ever cost that person? I mean, they love to twist things around, don't they? We expect all vehicle operators to pay their fair share through their registration, he said. Well, I'm sure they do. Now, here's the issue. As I've explained more times than I can count, explain at every single live event that we do, okay, this ridiculous claim that your vehicle is somehow unregistered is simply illegal nonsense. If it really was unregistered, how the hell would they know? Okay, the fact that these cameras connect to computers at the RTA or whatever the equivalent body is in each state, that proves that those vehicles are registered to that database. So at worst, all you failed to do is pay, someone an administrative fee, which renders it a civil matter because it's payment of money, not a criminal matter. Again, as I explain to people who ask about this, even if you write your vehicle off, it's registered as a write-off. Your vehicle's always registered. It can't be otherwise they wouldn't know. We're only talking about payment of an administrative fee. So please, if you've ever received a fine for driving an unregistered vehicle, then I urge you, make sure you challenge it using that tried, tested and proven 3-step process right there from chapter 3 of that Aussie speeding fines book. Okay, you shouldn't be paying those fines. There's absolutely no need. Now, perhaps, and I'm just, it's just spitballing here, but perhaps if the states actually spent some of the exorbitant amount of money that they raise from those registration fees each year, and they spend it on actually improving the quality of our roads, then maybe there'd be less accidents and less payouts and less costs. I mean, I don't know, just a wild and crazy thought. Now, of course, if you are one of the lucky people who have attended one of our live Know Your Rights events this year, then you would have seen the brand new presentation that Darren Dixon from Constitution Watch now does on vehicle registration, and of course that very, very important High Court case that dictates that the actual registration component, so again, not that insurance component, just the registration component, okay, could in fact be unconstitutional. So on that note, please, if you or anyone you know is anywhere around Perth in mid-September, or if you can get to Perth somehow in mid-September, then I urge you, please make sure that you secure a seat to our upcoming live Perth events. You should find a link either in the description or in the comments there, or you can find it on the seminars page on our website. And of course, that's exactly where Darren shares all of that information and that specific High Court case. And of course, that will be the last time that we'll be sharing that information live for the foreseeable future. We haven't even received the video footage that we had recorded at our Melbourne events, let alone even started editing it. So it could be a long time before it's available again. So when you think about it and you actually add up how much you've paid in registration fees over your driving life, or calculate how much you might still be yet to pay in the future, you can quickly see it's worth attending those events, just for that information alone, let alone, of course, all the other topics that we cover. And of course, please, if you can't get to those live events, if you can't get to Perth for whatever reason, do make sure that you do grab a copy of that home study course, which is, of course, a complete recording of one of those 2.5-day live events. Again, you'll find a link in the description. Okay, so So I also spoke on last week's video update about the councillor who actually challenged her ticketless parking fine recently, and not only successfully had that fine withdrawn, but also got that particular council to agree to stop issuing those ticketless fines. That's where you only receive the fine in the mail, 3 or 4 weeks after the event, and of course that significantly limits and hinders your ability to take photos of the area at the time, or offer any proof or evidence of whatever might have been going on for you. Well, whilst that particular council has obviously chosen to do the right thing and stop issuing those ticketless fines, it seems like there are many other very money-hungry councils out there that are not yet prepared to give up all of that wonderful revenue that they're able to raise from those unjust and unlawful fines. So here is another article that you should all be aware of, and especially if you are in New South Wales. So it says, ticketless parking fines surge as some councils refuse to give up a lucrative system. Local councils in New South Wales have doubled down on the controversial ticketless parking system, issuing the fines at a record rate in the last financial year. New South Wales government statistics show a 49% jump in ticketless parking fines issued in the 2023-24 financial year. The ticketless parking system has proved to be a financial boon for some councils, with revenue increasing 14% in the same period and the number of tickets issued up by 9%. The ticketless scheme was introduced in 2020 by the former state government and allows councils to send parking fines in the mail instead of attaching tickets to windscreens. But the move has sparked a backlash, as it can take weeks for drivers to receive a fine in the mail, meaning they are less able to gather evidence to contest the fine and increasing the chance of multiple fines piling up. The number of ticketless parking fines issued overtook traditional on-the-spot fines for the first time in the 2023-24 financial year. There were 822,310 ticketless parking fines handed out by local councils in the last financial year, compared to 551,441 in the 12 months prior. Responding to driver concerns, New South Wales Finance Minister Courtney Houssos asked councils, you don't ask councils, you tell councils what to do. They are there to act as departments of states. So you, as the head of the state, tell them what to do. You don't ask them. Ask councils to revert back to paper parking fines in March, saying the ticketless system failed to meet community expectations. Houssos said since then 30 councils have indicated to Revenue South Wales or stated publicly that they had either already or planned to go back to issuing on-the-spot fines. However, some councils had stated they were unwilling to make these changes unless they were forced to do so by new legislation. Since when did councils get this power and authority to tell the state, no, we don't want to do what you tell us to do? How does that work? Houssos warned that the government would be taking further steps to make sure the system was made fairer. If councils aren't willing to provide a common sense fix, the New South Wales government will step in and use our policy levers to ensure the ticketless parking fine system meets community expectations. Again, why not just do it now and give them that directive of what they have to do? According to New South Wales revenue figures, the City of Sydney was by far the council issuing the most ticketless parking fines. City of Sydney handed out 265,181 ticketless parking fines to the value of $42.4 million in 2023. Local Government New South Wales President Daria Turley said the association supported workable options, but was a matter for each council to decide how they would respond. No, it's not. Councils exist as departments of states. They are bound to do what the states tell them. That's the way it actually works. They are not independent third tiers of government like they tend to think they are. One positive to come out of the ticketless system was a reduction in verbal and physical abuse of staff, Turley said. Turley said the association would welcome the opportunity to work further with the minister on any developments in the area to make sure council costs don't rise. Because it's all about the money and saving costs. If they don't have people out on the street, they don't have to pay them. They can just, drive by, take photos and send them in the mail. It's all about the money. To make sure council costs don't rise and council staff safety standards don't fall. Again, council members have been out there on the beat issuing parking fines for decades. Why so different now? Because they realise they can save some money. A City of Sydney spokesperson said it was reviewing Houston's request to explore methods of immediately notifying motorists when they had been fined. The system provides motorists with more information about the infringement as well as follow-up actions available, the spokesperson said. It ensures the motorists are notified even if the tickets go missing or are damaged by the weather. Geez, isn't that convenient? So nice of them, to be doing that. Now, this article refers to, in passing to these, council ranges being abused and the like. But look, like speed cameras being vandalised that I spoke about on last week's video, what is it that would make an ordinary, everyday, law-abiding person take such extreme actions, like abusing someone for just doing their job, if those people actually really believe that the job the person was doing was actually worthwhile? Clearly people don't, and that's the issue. That's the real issue that the councils need to wake up to. People don't want these council rangers wandering around issuing these unjust and unlawful fines, and they're clearly getting fed up with it. In fact, some people are getting so fed up with these ridiculous fines that, again, like the speed cameras that we talked about last week, they're actually taking it out on the actual parking meters, as this article details. So this one's actually out of the UK, but I am aware of similar things happening here in Australia. And it says, every little bit helps. Parking meter act stuns. A criminal act on parking meters that was committed by fed-up motorists has sparked a debate online. Footage shows the moment a motorist laughs as he approaches a set of parking meters that were destroyed by fed-up beachgoers, a criminal act that was praised by some Aussies. The driver took footage of the defaced machines found next to the beach in the UK. The parking meters were painted in blue and had a substance that appeared similar to hardened glue protruding from them. The motorist can be seen flicking the coin slot area and attempting to press buttons on the machine, which did not work due to the substance poured over them. Footage also shows a vandalised sign displaying the words, "Free parking, every little bit counts." Despite the criminal nature of the act, fellow users, including many Aussies, praised the parking meter shenanigans on Instagram. "Not all superheroes wear capes," one overjoyed driver commented. "Good job, Sydney needs it the most," wrote a frustrated Australian. So, look, again, I want to, make it crystal clear. Okay, we certainly don't condone violence or vandalism of any kind at any time. But again, one has to ask the question why people are getting so fed up with these devices that they would take such extraordinary actions against them. Maybe, as the article goes on to suggest further down, it's due to not only these ticketless fines that are being issued, but also the cashless parking meters that are now being introduced. Now, if you haven't heard of this, you want to have a look at this article because it's only just started, but I guarantee you, unless enough people fight back, this is going to spread around the whole country. So this article is entitled, "Aussies Cashless Debate Rages After Residents Rant About Major Change to Parking Meters. This should be illegal." A woman in a wealthy Australian suburb sparked a heated debate about going cashless after a major change to the area's parking stations. The resident discovered recently updated parking meters in North Sydney exclusively accept digital payments. New parking meters in North Sydney appear not to take cash. As such, if we are to park in the North Sydney area, we need our mobile phone, as they do not appear to take cards either, the furious woman wrote online. "I was under the impression that cash was still a currency in Australia, and as North Sydney is a part of Australia, cash should be accepted." Absolutely. "It is my belief that this move is illegal and these meters should be removed immediately. Another issue is that they are difficult to identify. They look more like ashtrays than parking meters." Well, they're about as useful. The change is not illegal as the legitimate form of payment is still accepted." Well, what's the legitimate form? Because I don't see payment by phone or tap and go anywhere in the Bills of Exchange Act. Maybe I missed it, and maybe someone out there can enlighten me, but I don't see how tapping with a phone is actually a legal form of payment at all under the legislation that currently exists. Australians have reignited the debate on recent months after a teenager revealed she had no idea what to do with $5 notes, and a study revealed people spend more when they use cashless methods of payment. North Sydney Council decided to go cashless because only 1 in 26 visitors used cash. So that's still a number of people, it's still a percentage. In addition, malfunctions in our existing parking meters occur primarily due to coin box vandalism and jams. The removal of coin payments ensures our parking meters' reliability long term as it decreases these ongoing maintenance costs. Again, all about the money. Many North Sydney locals criticise the woman's ire. The system allows you to pay as you park and you can control the time from your phone. It eliminates parking fines where you are frantically running to get back to your car because you didn't put enough 50-cent coins in, one argued. But others saw the issue with requiring mobile phones to pay for parking. Looks like smartphones are now also mandatory to drive a car and use a meter. What if you duck out without your phone? I'm personally okay with not accepting cash, but at least make it tap and go, one woman said. Clearly another muppet out there. Having to download an app to use a parking meter is a bit ridiculous, another added. Older folks might not have smartphones or know how to scan a QR code. Absolutely, and why should you have to? Where does it say you have to have a smartphone? Where does it say you have to have your phone with you when you're driving? In fact, don't they tell us not to touch your phone, not to use it? So wouldn't it be a good idea to leave it at home? I mean, they can't make up their mind because all they're worried about is how to make more money. Okay, that's the only thing that they're interested in. So the way I see it, and again, I could be wrong, but if the councils are acting in accordance with their constitutional requirements, which, as I said before, is to act as a department of a state, then the payment for parking is clearly a debt to the state, and that, of course, can only be lawfully and constitutionally discharged in gold and silver coin, pursuant, of course, to Section 115 of the Commonwealth Constitution. Now, if, on the other hand, the councils are acting as a business, which, of course, is exactly what they're doing, and they claim that they make the terms and conditions of parking clear before you park there, which is what they're trying to do, then, as a corporation, they obviously have no lawful authority to issue any parking fines. I mean, can Bunnings or Kmart or KFC issue parking fines? No, of course not. Okay, now this is something that we're going to be discussing in further detail on Tuesday night's radio show. We've had a couple of emails about it, so we're going to cover those in detail. So please make sure you tune in live to this Tuesday night's radio show, or actually next Tuesday night's radio show. And again, you'll find a link in the description and in the comments, again, 8 to 10 p.m. Tuesday night. Now, either way, whichever way the councils want to have it, in addition to that tried, tested and proven three-step process from Chapter 3 of that Aussie Speeding Fines book, they also have an entire chapter. Oh, I lost my little marker. No, it just slipped out. There it is. They also have an entire chapter, Chapter 9, which is all about parking fines and local councils and what authority they do and don't have. So again, if you don't yet have that book, please do make sure you grab a copy. Now, speaking of going cashless, one of the biggest issues, of course, with the cashless agenda is the significant number of online outages that continue to occur with monotonous regularity. Now, of course, one of the biggest ones in recent times was the Crowdstrike outage from a few weeks ago. Well, it turns out that Crowdstrike are actually being sued by their own shareholders because it's now come out that they actually knew about the issues with their inadequate software testing, but didn't bother to tell anyone, including their own shareholders. So if you're interested in following this story, that is the article there. And it says, Crowdstrike is sued by shareholders over huge software outage. Knowledge of software testing in question. Crowdstrike has been sued by shareholders who said the cybersecurity company defrauded them by concealing how its inadequate software testing could cause the July 19 global outage that crashed more than 8 million computers. In a proposed class action filed in Austin, Texas federal court, shareholders said they learned that Crowdstrike's assurances about its technology were materially false and misleading when a flawed software update disrupted airlines, banks, hospitals and emergency lines around the world. They said Crowdstrike's share price fell 32% over the next 12 days, wiping out $25 billion US of market value. As the outage's effects became known, Chief Executive George Kurtz was called to testify to the US Congress, and Delta Airlines reportedly hired prominent lawyer David Boies to seek damages. The complaint cites statements including from a March 5th conference call where Kurtz characterised Crowdstrike software as validated, tested and certified. In a statement, Crowdstrike said, "We believe this case lacks merit and we will vigorously defend the company." Kurtz and Chief Financial Officer Bert Podbier are also defendants. The lawsuit led by the Plymouth County Retirement Association of Plymouth, Massachusetts seeks unspecified damages for holders of Crowdstrike Class A shares between November 29, 2023 and July 29, 2024. Shareholders often sue companies after unexpected negative news causes stock prices to fall, and Crowdstrike could face more lawsuits. Delta Chief Executive Ed Bastian told CNBC this week that the outages cost his airline $500 million, including lost revenue and compensation and hotels for stranded flyers. So, these things are a real worry. As I've said before, it's, with the constant changes and constant updates, this is not going away. Okay, there's no guarantees. We told this to everyone when the story broke. Okay, no guarantees that it won't happen again, but the reality is, in all likelihood, there will be more of these similar outages than ever before. So it's more important than ever before to keep using cash. Okay, because as they say, cash doesn't crash. So on that point, again, timely reminder, please do make sure, if you haven't already done so, that you join Jason Bryce's petition to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. Again, you'll find a link in the comments. Otherwise, you can just search for formal cash and banking guarantee online and you'll find that petition. Again, make sure you join our Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. Again, let's keep naming and shaming these businesses that refuse to accept cash and, of course, promoting those that do take it. And again, let's keep sharing these sorts of articles and news stories around on the sister group, the Cash is King discussion group. And again, let's make sure people are fully aware and fully understand the issues with this ongoing cashless agenda. And let's all play a part in putting a stop to that. All right, so I'm going to finish off tonight with some more great memes to get people thinking. Now, we're talking, of course, about these the cashless, and of course, directly linked to that is the digital ID. Now, this is actually a story that just came out this week regarding the NFL. Okay, and as it says there, Big Brother, the NFL announced this week that all 32 teams will be implementing facial recognition software to verify the identity of everyone in the stadium. Okay, so this is happening, and if you don't partake, they won't let you in the game. But you've got to work out, what's more important, the safety of your personal information and your identity, or going and watching some match. And again, if you've got any thoughts about digital ID other than this, that is what it is all about. That is it in a nutshell. Okay, digital ID is not to identify yourself. It's to track and trace your every move. That's what it's about. It's all about control. Control of the people, control of the population. Now, we've given a few examples of this tonight. And again, I'm not saying that there should be any form of violence or vandalism. But as it says there, according to my watch, it's about time for a little civil disobedience. Lawfully, of course. Yes, this one. Again, we keep talking about, digital IDs protecting your privacy. People go, but I've got nothing to hide. Well, as it says there, okay, arguing that you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different, okay, than saying I don't care about free speech just because you've got nothing to say. Okay, it makes no sense. And if you don't do it for yourself, at least do it for others. At least do it for your kids. Okay. Yes, and we see more and more examples of this every single day. And this is so important for people to really understand. Okay, they are offering you solutions for problems that they created, and the solution was also created far in advance. This is the illusion of choice. They have conditioned you to call for change after they created the problem. It's called Hegelian dialectic. Okay, go and look that up so that you understand this is what the powers that be do all the time. And I'm just going to leave you with this one because there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. We've spoken about lots of things, the stuff in the US, the woke agenda going on in France. Obviously, we've seen here at home the past week the crushing of the stock market. So a lot of people are getting the feeling that, there's chaos and things are falling apart, and that is certainly nothing to be worried about. It is something to embrace, because as it says there, new beginnings are always preceded by a period of chaos and crisis. The new cannot enter before the old falls apart. So as always, do take precautions. Make sure you're stocked up with food. Make sure you're stocked up with fuel. Make sure you've got fresh water tucked away. Make sure you've got some cash stashed away. So do take precautions to prepare yourself for some of this chaos. But when you see it going on, when you see it ramping up, be excited, because that means the end of the old and the beginning of the new way forward. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all of the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We do need that this year more than ever before. Of course, these videos are completely free to watch. You'll find them on our BitChute channel, our YouTube channel, and of course under the videos tab on our Facebook page. Our websites have tons and tons of completely free information that you can go through. Our radio show back again live this coming Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. Completely free to listen to. If you do want to listen to any of our past shows from the past 10 years, you can join up as a podcast member. It costs less than $5 a week to become a podcast member. That's it. So it's very, very affordable for everybody. Of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do, of course, recommend our ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. Of course, our Aussie Speeding Fines book that I mentioned before, perfect for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, we do know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially at the moment, so please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, your credit cards, personal loans, things like that. They can be very easily discharged with that tried, tested and proven 4-step process from that Bank Secrets book. So again, these can all be purchased individually. You'll find links in the description. You can get them all together as part of a combo pack, and we do of course include our tote bag at no extra cost. Nice little bonus. Great to walk around the shops and whatnot with. And again, we do have our caps and beanies. There's some nicer weather heading our way, or certainly down south. And so look out for these caps, grab your beanies. People see the logos, they come up, they have a chat. Great way to meet like-minded people through that. Of course, one of the best things that you can do to meet really like-minded people is get along to our live events. As I said, the final ones are on in Perth, 13th, 14th, 15th of September. Again, you'll find a link in the description. Get along to that if you possibly can, and if not, as I said before, do grab a copy of our home study course. It is a complete recording of one of those events. You can rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home at your own pace, and it is a great resource tool that you'll come back to again and again and again over the years. So I'm going to leave things there. I look forward to speaking to you all on Tuesday night for our radio show, and of course again next Thursday night for our next live video update. Until then, take care and have a great weekend.